Good evening, dear friend. Good evening, and welcome to the Wednesday evening hump day version of this thing of ours. I'm your host, Aldi Regatas, and I'm so glad you're with us as we delve into yet again a waste of time trying to explain to folks what's going on. Not you, mind you, but the rest of the world. We normally have our show at 7 p.m. This evening, Mrs. L and I went to a service, a visitation, a wake, so to speak, for our dear friend, Father James B. Lloyd, 103 years young. Here's to you, JBL. And we went, and the church is right next to Fordham University in what we call sort of Hell's Kitchen. And we walked by, and there was nothing really going on. And I'm going to try my best this eve to try to explain what I think you understand, but a lot of people do not care to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to explain this to you, okay? I'm going to explain this one to you. But before we begin, let me say, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for making this worthwhile. As we begin the month of May, ladies and gentlemen, as we begin the month of May, can you believe it? Where is the time going? And it was very interesting. There's a lot of changes going on right now. Can you see it? Do you feel it? Well, I feel it, and I see it, and I want to make you aware of it, and I want to explain what it means to you for various reasons. And I think you will agree with me. I hope you agree with me. And by the way, if you don't agree with me, you don't have to. Let me say something right off the bat, and this is very, very important. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you. That doesn't mean anything. I don't care if you're for Trump or against Trump or what. It doesn't mean a thing. So I don't care. Today I had one of the more wonderful day. I talked to a law school buddy of mine. I've known him for, oh my God, 42 years, 43 years. And I couldn't tell you what his politics were. I don't even know. We laugh like hell, and we're just great friends. And I couldn't tell you what his politics was, and I wouldn't care one way or another. I wouldn't care. It doesn't mean anything. Remember that, folks. Politics means nothing if this is your friend, if it's your family, if it's your wife, your husband. It doesn't matter. Unless somebody is a dick, and then it's a problem. That's when it's a problem. But normally, remember, let us make sure we consecrate tonight's evening with this. Remember this kind of acknowledgement of faith, this article of faith, where we say I don't care what I don't care about your gender, sexuality, political. I don't care. You're entitled to it. And I'd love, especially when we don't agree, if I could finally find somebody to really explain in a non-combative way how they feel. So anyway, dear friends, sit back, enjoy the ride. Here we go. It's going to be a fun night. Everybody's here. Nightingale's here. Lizzie Solak is here. She, of course, is the prefect of discipline. She's a house mother. She is the grand dame of the nation. So anyway, dear friends, make sure you remain subscribed. People are getting unsubscribed. I don't understand it. Please make sure you are aware of it. But before we begin, my friends, before we get into it, let us hear from this very critical word from our very critical sponsor. It's no longer a question of if something catastrophic is coming, it's when. And while you still have control, still have time, what are you going to do about it now to prepare? Your first step is going to my website at preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Your next step is stocking up on multiple 4-week emergency food kits from My Patriot Supply. And for a limited time, take $50 off a 4-week emergency food supply. My Patriot Supply is equipped to help you prepare. They've helped over 2 million families already. These 4-week kits with ready hour foods provide over 2,000 calories every day, 16 varieties, 25 years shelf life, breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, drinks, and they're sealed inside 2 31-pound rugged waterproof buckets, and they last up to 25 years in storage. Take advantage right now, my friend, and go to preparewithlionel.com. That's preparewithlionel.com. All right, dear friends, let me ask you something. Let me remind you of something which is very, very, very critical. First, I think I'm sorry to do this. I think my lens is a little shingad there. I got some schmutz on the lens. Sorry about that. That might be a little bit better. There we go. First, let me remind you of something. My friend that I love, he's my brother, is from Cuba. His family was forced to leave Cuba by Castro. His family's home. His family's home. By the way, he travels, and I think he's a spook. I tell him all the time, I don't know how the hell this guy's been traveling to Cuba when nobody traveled. I don't know how he does it. I don't ask a lot of questions. But anyway, his family, his house where his family, his grandmother, grandfather is now, I think they're part of the government, the attorney general or something of Havana. And he said to me, let me explain something to you. He said, that was my home. That was where I lived. That's where my grandfather lived, and that's where we were. That was our home. Castro comes in and says, get out. Pushes him out. He says, I understand how Palestinians feel. Let me stop right there. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Let me say it again, because I don't think people understand this. I understand how Palestinians feel. Ramona, he says, so true. I have time explaining that to my conservative friends. I have time explaining to my conservative friends and my liberal friends. Unfortunately, some of the liberals are leftists who get mean. Oh, absolutely. And and by the way, Ramona, thank you. But Mrs. Allen and I sometimes will look at something and we don't see it the right way. We don't, it doesn't matter. She wants to hear Dancing Queen. I don't. It's nobody's right or wrong. I mean, it's the idea of somebody not agreeing with me and the idea of somebody saying, let me explain to you the way I feel. So my friend is saying, I understand what a Palestinian feels like. This was their home. It's gone. I don't care how. Balfour Declaration, UN, 242, 241. I don't care if it's 75 years ago. I don't care. This was 1959. Cuban, the brain. What? Now, let me stop right there. Is there anybody here who honestly believes, honestly, that Palestinians should say, look, those are the breaks. What are you going to do? Wasn't really ours anyway. We were just kind of keeping the engine warm for you. It's all yours, Israel. Take it. Anybody think that? Does anybody really believe that? Remember, this is not anti-Semitism. Let's just answer that question. If you can't get your head around that, we're wasting our time. We are wasting our time. Ramona says, hard time. Yes, indeed. Hard time, indeed. Hard time. I know you're filling in your original version of this, which you said, quote, so true, I'm having a hard time explaining. Or as you say, I have a he time, which I like that. I like that unique phraseology. Now, if you say this to somebody, I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic. There's nothing to do with anti-Semitic. Do you understand what they're saying? Yes. They're talking about the Nakba like it was yesterday. Am I supposed to forget this? No, I don't live there. When I hear nothing but nothing of people from, you name it, talk about Islamic scholars, Palestinian scholars, say what happened repeatedly. Let me just make sure we understand. Does anybody not understand this? Do you not understand what this is? When I have friends of mine, I've talked to friends and they say, can I tell you what it feels like to be black in this country? Do you know what it means to me when we have this thing about racism or what have you? Do you have this? Do you have any idea? And if I said, Jesus Christ, are you going to talk about slavery again? Are you going to keep talking about Jim Crow? For the love of God, you're born in Cleveland. You have nothing to do. Do I not listen to them? Do I say, excuse me, I disagree with you. I'm tired. I'm tired of this bullshit about this and that, the racism. Enough. Had enough of it. No, I don't say that. Because if somebody says something, I believe it. Not all the time, but a lot of times. So that's the first thing. Next, there are some people who just hate Israel. Hate them. Hate them not for what they've done. Just hate them. They're anti-Semites. Or they hate Jews. You know it and I know it. What are you supposed to do? Pass a law and say, hey, stop thinking that. Jerry Nadler, I can't believe I'm listening to Michael Moore. I'm agreeing with some things he's saying. Amy Goodman, I never listened to that show. I'm thinking, oh, for God's sakes, this belly-aching lefty liberal should make sense to me. Not always, but Michael Moore the other night. And then there are other people who I used to, I agree with most of the time, who are saying things like, well, they're they're anti-Israel protests. Excuse me. Some people are, but some people aren't. Well, they're pro-Hamas. No, they're not pro-Hamas. They're pro-Palestinian. Well, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Remember when Pat Buchanan was arguing that we shouldn't have been involved in World War II? That's a pretty tough one. It was, oh, you pro-Hitler, you're a Nazi. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't understand it. The American media, do you really believe that when you look at this? Now, let me explain to you all of the groups of people that we're talking about, okay? Let me explain to you the groups of people. And by the way, this is for an adult show, so please don't get the kids. I don't want the kids to listen to this because this is going to be too tough for them to understand. Number one, the reason why I would protest is to win your it's like the same way I would campaign, to get new followers, to spread the word, to make people understand what's going on. Okay? Understand? Okay. Now, very quickly, and maybe you can help me with this. I have this thing, I don't know what the word is, this very simple idea that if I'm going to protest, I want you to respect me. And I want you to take what I'm saying legitimately and seriously. And I don't want you to think I'm doing it just to glorify my own self. Okay? I would have pictures of all, because my thing is simply this: the people that are dying in Palestine, in Gaza. You call it Palestine, Gaza, whatever you want to call it. That's it. I'm not talking about Bibi. I'm not talking about Judaism. I'm talking about these people are being wiped off the face of the earth. and I will never use the word genocide. Why is that? Turns people off. Turns people off. I think I've told you this before, but I do a private channel where I can speak very, very clearly and without any hesitation whatsoever. This is that link if you're so inclined. And the first thing I was trying to explain to folks in a very, I think, a very cogent way is to explain something. I'm not doing something just because I love to hear myself chant. I wouldn't protest because I just think it's fun. I've always thought most protesters are full of shit. Okay? Pardon my French. I'm sorry. It's the only way I know how to speak. I've always questioned the sincerity of most people. I think they're doing it in some respects because they think it's a rite of passage. They think it's fun. They think it's leftist. I cannot believe that so many people can really understand exactly what's going on. So I would only carry pictures of dead children, of did you read the pictures of rubble? Did you hear how much I mean, just to remove the debris? To remove the debris. It's incredible. Sparky weighs in. Sparky says, not many, if any, of the protesting students are actually anti-Semitic. They grew up when schools spend a lot of time teaching them not to be. I agree with you. Again, it's not anti-Semitic. Sparky, let me ask you this. Why are there so few black protesters in this group? Is that me? Am I noticing this? Baby, I'm full of it. I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking, I don't see any, well, I shouldn't say that. Because what I see on TV, I don't even know if that's true. But if you notice that, don't African American students feel some kind of simpatico? Maybe they do. I don't know. When it was BLM protesters, Jesus, wow. So the protesting is there. Where are they? What do they have to say? Don't they have anything to say about this? I'm just curious. John Maz says, you may know what I'm talking about. The NYPD using hats and bats was stopped by Mayor de Blasio. They weren't even used during 2020. A little excessive force last night. 2 ranking officers showboating with the U.S. flag. Well, you wrote a lot there, and let me explain this to you. And first of all, thank you. Number one, I'm making some observations. What is the official line when it comes to, and I'm thinking African Americans. Do you hear African American actors talk about this? I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Sparky says, because TV doesn't cover schools with many blacks. Okay. Well, but here's the story, Sparky. The schools who are doing this for the most part are, a lot of them that people care about are Ivy League, what used to be called the Ivy League. Now they're called whatever it is, vocational schools. They're just, well, whatever. Well, anyway. And it seems to me, at least, it seems to me that what we're talking about is, especially with today's diversity programs and DEI and quotas and affirmative action. I'm sorry. There's a whole bunch of folks out there, but I'm not saying this. Next, a lot of these are agents provocateurs. They are brought in to raise holy hell. They're not students, and they're not there because of whatever. Next, did you see all of the signs that were printed and ready to go? Who's promoting the signs? Not that it matters. It's not against the law. That's another thing. Are you following? I'm just asking questions. We don't know. We don't know. So I'm asking the question. And by the way, stop calling it genocide. If you haven't figured that one out yet, I know these people. You know them too. Say, I don't care what you think. I said, you're not winning the crowd over. I don't care if I win the crowd over. And apparently not. This is a big bugaboo. Okay, don't call it genocide. I don't agree. Will you listen to me talk then? Okay, I'll listen, but don't call. Okay, fine. Don't call it genocide. Don't talk about the ICJ. Don't talk about the ICC. Don't talk about apartheid. Don't talk about ethnic cleansing, settler colonialism. If you're trying to win people over, you're not paying attention. Think like a trial lawyer. You got a closing argument. Make them feel this. Give them the statistics. 35,000 kids. Show them pictures. Show them videos of kids being pulled out of rubble. What did they do? Oh, I know. Hamas? Is that it? It's always Hamas. Dr. Murph, thank you so much. You are more than kind. And I appreciate you immensely from the heart. Thank you for that. This is nonsense. I want this to stop. Now let's see. Who's bombing them? Israel. Who's paying for this? The United States. Okay. Okay, now let's see. I want them to stop bombing these people. That's all I'm saying. Stop bombing them. Stop killing these people. I'm not going to call it genocide. I'm not going to do it because you go crazy when okay, all right, fine. So let's see. The United States, stop doing it. Israel, stop. And that's it. And we're going to work this thing out. You are not going to expose yourself to Hamas. You are not going to have to take Hamas. You are not going to have to. Okay. But just like the NYPD can't just bulldoze a school just because they can't bulldoze, the arts and letters building because there's some crackpots in there. That doesn't make any sense. That's the same way you can't basically just blow up Gaza because Hamas is there and they're using you as a human shield. Now, you know it and I know it. And that's just it. We're done talking about that. Now, you can call it whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not interested in that. Let the ICJ, don't call it genocide, homicide, manslaughter. I don't care. Stop it now. Okay, good. How do you think we accomplish this? Well, first of all, stop saying that somebody is necessarily anti-Israel. I know people, Jews, who are saying, this is ridiculous. How do you explain U.S. servicemen who came back from Vietnam and said, I'm against the war? What are they, pro-Vietnam? This is stupid. The mainstream media are in the bag. They are in lockstep to see who can be more, it's obviously anti-Hamas. Seriously? Now, there are some, absolutely. So you mean to tell me all of the students, they're pro-Hamas? Now, I don't want to don't get started with this one. Would Hamas be there no matter what? Some people say yes. Hamas is a group of people. What was Hamas created by Israel? Some say it was as a counter against Fatah and Arafat. Okay, fine. You want to figure this out? Go ahead. Can Hamas be negotiated with? I don't care. Figure it out. I want you to stop killing these people. That's it. That's it. There's my position. Does that make me anti-Israel, pro-Israel, anti-Palestinian? I don't know. Now, the people, most of the time, the people who are out protesting are there because they're children. And they will do this. And did you see the UCLA demands of how much they wanted sushi? Did you see this? Some of these people are children. Some are. You're not going to see the good ones. There was a piece from, I think it was Brown University. Was it Brown? They had a Seder. They had Jews and Arabs talking. Absolutely. It was wonderful. Did you see that on Fox News? No. No. Let me ask you a question. Quick show of hands. And we walked by tonight. Mrs. Ellen and I walked by we walked past Fordham and the cops were there. I'll get to that in a moment. Yes or no? If there was not one camera, let's say for some reason I shut everything down. I have this death ray, and my death ray can shut down cameras. Any camera. Did you know I have that? It's a death ray. Did you know I have that? Yep. It's called a death ray camera. You probably didn't know I had that, did you? It's called a death ray. And what it does is it shuts everything down. Everything. Nothing works. TV cameras, this is hypothetical. Phone cameras, Instagram, not one picture. What if somebody said, hey, none of this event is being recorded? How long do you think it would be before the protests were over? Sparky says a half of pro-Palestinian protesters are Jewish. Most pro-Zionist protesters are agents provocateurs and crisis actors. There are few legit pro-Zionist protesters, but they're misguided by the MSM. I thank you for that. Let me ask you this much. First of all, question number one, how many people do you think would be there if there were no, if nobody was recording this? Anybody? No. Half of them will be gone. If they showed up with drums and go, where's everybody? Nobody's covering this. Okay, doesn't matter. We're still going to protest. Not on your life. If nobody covers this, if the mainstream media, if the media aren't covering this, they're not interested. Excuse me, I got the tickle. No, it's all right. Nobody's interested. That's number one. Number two, Sparky, I love you. You know who uses the term Zionist? Digital platforms. Crystal Ball, Brianna, Napolitano, Mearsheimer. Non-Zionists use the term Zionist. A true Zionist never uses the word. Never. It's used as a pejorative. It's used as a symptom, excuse me, of some kind of mental illness or something. That's Zionism for you. That's that crazy Zionism. It's never used by Zionists. Ramona says, John Mads, it's not showboating to place our flag back where it belongs. Off that topic, I don't think many people realize exactly what what Semite, encompasses. I thought it was senile or senile. We'll get to that in a moment. Number one, I thought it was wonderful replacing the flag. I thought it was wonderful for these University of North Carolina, these fraternity brothers from Pi Kappa Phi, I think, to protect the flag. But I do not think it's a good idea for NYPD to take the Palestinian flag, rip it off, and throw it down. Nope. Sorry. What good does that do? People say, F it. I think you know what I mean by F it. F it. F them. F. Okay, I got it. I would have said, no, we don't do that. No. Because you are a police officer. And as a police officer, you represent everybody. Jews, Gentiles, atheists, Palestinians. You don't take their flag and throw it on the ground. You don't do it. Things are vexillology rules. I remember there was a prosecutor years ago who prosecuted either the nomads, the pagans, or something. It was a motorcycle group, and he took their colors with the rack or the colors of their leather jacket and threw it in a garbage can. Oh, you talk about a fatwa. They went berserk. Sparky says just about all the outside agitators are feds or working on behalf of the feds. No. I don't believe that. No. Now, let's break this down. All of the outside agitators. Define agitator. What's an agitator? Why isn't somebody who is out there saying, who's protesting, who says, death to Israel, death to America, are they agitators? How do we know what an agitator is? Stephen Johnson says, sure seems like the situation was especially designed to split the right. Well, not really. I think it might be to split the left. And I'm glad you brought that up, Stephen, and thank you for that. Who's an agitator? Who's an agitator? What agitator? How do you define what an agitator? I'm not an agitator. Yes, you are. Why? Because you're yelling death to whatever it is, and you're an agitator. Excuse me. Plus, you don't even go to school here. Do I have to go to school here? This is a protest. Yeah, but this is a Fordham protest. Excuse me. You don't have to be. You're brought in here. You're an agent provocateur. You're Antifa or something else. Why? Why? How do you tell? During BLM, we could tell. All of a sudden, people showing up in white buses. Remember the white buses? We always see the buses parked. Where do we see them? Either on 11th or we see them on 11th, and we also see them. We used to see them. Yeah, West Side Highway, and we also saw them someplace else. Central Park South. Yep, that's where they come. We know where they come from, and they get out. That's right around where the bricks, the actual bricks, not the Brazil, Russia, India, but the actual brick bats were put in pallets. Oh yeah, those are. Plus, NYPD intel. I saw a PDF sent out that somebody had one time from Antifa. Oh, those aren't agitators. Those are professionals. But hang on for a second. I want to do this very, very quick. I want you to just stop because this is Sparky brings up a good point here that I want to get to. But first, as you know, it's also critical during moments like this for us always to pay homage to our sponsor. It's time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at MyPillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, listen carefully. Check out their $25 extravaganzas. Premium My Pillows, Queen and King, My Pillow 2.0, My Pillow bed sheets, the lowest price ever. Sandals, slides, slippers, 6-piece towel sets, 4-pack dish towel sets. Simply and absolutely unbelievable. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel, mypillow.com promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965 and watch how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. MyPillow.com, simply and absolutely the best. All right, thank you. Sparky, by the way, says, Lionel, Zionist is an important word these days. Otherwise, people would mix them up with Jews. What word would you use? Words that are not used by the average American. You're speaking of stuff, and by the way, I understand completely what you're saying, but you're speaking of something that most people have no interest in. They don't understand the like Palestinian versus Arab versus some Semite, and those are words that are great on the Norman Finkelstein would use that term. Aaron Mate would. Max Blumenthal would use it. Great for those shows. Average guy I'm trying to talk to doesn't use that term. Has no idea what the hell you're talking about. Has no idea what you're talking about. I said, no, you don't understand. Zionism deals with specifically the dedication of the provision of Israel, the state of Israel being the state of the official state of the Jewish people. No, you don't understand. That's different than a Jew. No, you don't understand. You see, you can be Jewish and not be a Zionist. What? You can be a Jew and not necessarily believe in all because in order to declare Israel or to declare Palestine, whatever you want to refer to this particular piece of real estate as, for it to be the official state of the Jewish people, you're going to have to move people out of it. And that's called what they call the Nakba and the And see, that's different than being Jewish, because Jewish people may not necessarily be for that. You understand what I'm saying? No. That's the difference. Okay. Now, you can be a Christian Zionist or a Jewish Zionist. You can be an eschatological Christian who basically is for Zionism, because a lot of people are actually anti-Semitic who are Zionists. Why is that? Because a lot of people just want the Jews to get the hell out of here. Remember that? See, there was a whole bunch of people who said, oh, no, I'm a Zionist. No, you're not. You just want people. Oh, no. See, there was a time when people, who was it, Marcus Garvey, and there was a movement of blacks and African Americans to go back to Africa. And it was they used Exodus as a part of their ideology. And a lot of folks who were, quote, racist said, hey, I'm with you. Can we help? What? I want to repatriate you with Africa. I want you to get the hell out of here. Wait a minute. You're a racist. No, I'm not. I'm supporting you. You want to go back to Africa, right? I want you to go back to Africa. Let's work on this together. No, you're a racist. I don't like your motivation. It's the same, maybe the same result. So there were Christian Zionists who some people just didn't like Jews and wanted them to get the hell out of here. So they were all for that repatriation and say, fine, Israel, whatever. Official state, that's terrific. Then there were others who go, oh, no. We are Christians who believe in this because we believe that this is going to be the final countdown of humanity. This is when the second coming of Jesus and the Messiah is going to be there. And they also believe that it's going to be through nuclear conflagration. So they actually, believe it or not, wanted to almost promote and accelerate a nuclear war, as in a nuclear holocaust, to use that term. And they had nothing to do with Jews, nothing. So when you use the word Zionist, oh my God, there are flavors and textures. And I suggest, Sparky, if you want to talk to the average American, don't do that. Don't want to. What do you want to do? Some people want to say, I do not want to stop the war. I want to argue Zionism. Okay. You sure you want to do that? Yes. I want to talk about that. And I want to also suggest that they have to admit, well, what if I can get a ceasefire without bringing up Zionism? No. What do you mean no? No. We've got to reverse Zionism. Really? Yes. Is that critical? Yes, it's critical to me. Okay. Well, I suggest maybe we'll get to that later. Maybe. Why don't we just start off with a ceasefire now? Some people are saying, oh no. They want to unravel history, which, whether you like that idea or not, that I think is kind of avoids the immediacy of the problem. Sparky says, how will people learn? It's like Disney changing wicked stepmother to mean stepmother. You see, what you want to do is, you're like my friend who say, no, you don't understand. We're going to use these terms. Really? Yes. We're going to use these terms. Everybody, this is called Zionism. And Zionism is about, okay. I'm thinking, no. This is called genocide. Oh, God, don't say that. Don't say. They have to learn. That's what the international courts of the IG say. That's what South Africa. Okay, I understand this. But when you see Zionism, it just no. It's like, don't say things like eugenics. It is eugenics. It is no. I'm not saying this. I know people who love the word eugenics. Remember that? How about this? During I don't even know what it was or when this came. There were these group, and I'm using this as an analogy. It's not a perfect. I know people who say they could never talk about children or trafficking. They had to bring up. They always had to bring up things like adrenochrome. I'm thinking, no, you don't understand. I read the FBI. No, what are you doing? Because they have to learn. You have to learn this. No, we'll get to that later. I want this to stop. Hey, Gaza. Yeah, listen, I'm working on the ceasefire, but I got a bit of a problem. These guys want to do a tutorial on Zionism, and it's slowing things down. So should I work for the ceasefire and work on the Zionism later, work on the, discussions later about genocide. And yes, that's what I say. But they don't want me to do that. They want me to train them on the word Zionism. That's what this is about. And focus on that. Meanwhile, you're being bombed and destroyed and pummeled. And no. See, I don't understand this. And this one over here, this one from Colombia, who's talking about the food program. She says, can we get some water here? I played that. I can't watch this again. If you want to see this video I did, can we get some water here, folks? Yeah, I'm really suffering here, and we need some water. What? Yeah, we need some water, if you don't mind. Can we get some water over here? And listen, we all have our food services card, and it's getting a little dicey. So if you could, by the way, I did one today called Whiny Protester Karen Demands Colombia Cater Their Protest. They want Colombia to cater it. I don't know where this broad came from, but it's like, what are you doing? She an FBI too, you think? She an FBI? Now, when we get into this, it's like, again, my favorite was the FBI was at January 6th. You mean they were the instigators? No, they were there. Oh, I agree with this. Do you think the FBI are part of the actors? You think the FBI, do you think that Merrick Garland's agents are acting as pro-Palestinian? What? You see where we're going? We're missing the point here. Sparky says, keeping people ignorant as your policy seems to be on the specific issue is why it's never been solved. The dream of greater Israel depends on it. Okay, Sparky, agree with me. If I could get the ceasefire first and worry about Zionism later and everything else, would you agree with that? Would you agree with that? Because it seems like you want to just correct this. You haven't talked once in anything you've written about stopping the killing. You're talking about stopping Zionism. I'm talking about stopping the killing. Maybe we're on the same page. Maybe we're not. At this point, I don't want to define, is this genocide or is this war? Do you think the IJC did it specify the correct mens rea and the intent portion of this? So my question, Sparky, is this: do you want to stop the killing, or you want to have a debate about Zionism? Zionism is great. I want to stop the killing first, and then I'll let you do it. You do it. Go over there. As long as they're killing, whatever you want to do, talk about it, debate it. I'm an American. I've got my southern border being absolutely marauded by illegals. Biden and these idiots have they are scared out of their minds. They're doing a Hail Mary right now. That's what I'm concerned with. So I'll make a deal with you. This is my plea. Stop it. And then Sparky, I want you and everybody else to go to Israel or go to wherever it is and debate around the world talking about Zionism. We'll get you, all of the usuals. God bless them, Napolitano and others. Do it. I think the world would benefit tremendously from it. I don't think people understand what Zionism means. But I'm talking about stopping it now, and you're talking about, no, this merely perpetuates the ignorance. Excuse me. I want to put the fire out, and you want to talk about fire safety. I want to put the fire out, and you want to talk about the importance of having fire extinguishers. I want to put the fire out and save these people in this building, and you want to talk about whether we should put more money into the fire departments and whether we should need a fire brigade and whether we need more trucks and whether perhaps we might want to go to a different colored light to get people's attention. Maybe blue might be work because of the Purkinje shift. Blue works better during the day. And red. I've got a fire here. I'm trying to save lives. I want this to stop immediately. And I've got some jerk off over there in Colombia bitching about how she's not getting her catering done and her dorm card doesn't work and how there's no water. And there's, I mean, I can't believe what's happening here. Ramona says, no matter what we call them, there will not be a peace deal right now because they are trying to hide a financial collapse. Who are they? You mean Israel or whatever? I'm just saying. Sparky says, I've said to cut off military and economic aid to stop it. Oh, absolutely. I'm with you on that. That's what Reagan would do. But, Sparky, I want it to stop. I'm like, excuse me. Yeah. If we cut off, you may have stockpiles or whatever it is. I want you to stop this. I don't care whether you stop using missiles and bombs and whatever weapons that we've given you or that you've had or that China will get or whoever it is. I don't want you to throw a rock starting immediately. Do we make ourselves clear here? This is ridiculous. Then later on, I'll let you debate Zionism. Okay? I've got a country here. Now, I want you to see something. And by the way, Sparky and Ramon, I love your energy. Thank you. Kids, what do you think about this one? This is something which is fascinating. This was a group. Who is the guy? Jason Lee? I don't even know who the hell Jason Lee is. I'm not proud to say this. I'm not proud to say. Got a hip hop reality show. Okay, there you go. But it doesn't matter. Here he is trying his best to talk to this old coot. And listen to, watch carefully. Watch Biden's face. And watch him just not say a word. Stare at him for a while. And then kind of move off into the distance. Okay? Watch this very carefully. And this man theoretically has the nuclear code. Remember this.
Black-owned media outlets. I speak with over 6 million people every day. And we've been trying to catch up with you. And I've had talks with the vice president. But whenever you're out there, we want to talk to you. Because I feel like, I don't know, I got your back. I'm just trying to
look.
Get you to pull up.
Goodbye. Walk over here. That's all. That's all. That's all. Sparky says people need to know what's up to put the pressure on Congress. Absolutely. Absolutely. But then again, you'll be an anti-Semite. So I'm with you on that. Did you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene? Muga. Make Ukraine great again. No more money. Israel, God bless them. Ukraine, God bless them. No more. That's it. Keep the money here. That's it. That's it. Stop it. By the way, Ukraine, 500,000. Oh, I don't even know how many. Who knows? Who knows where that one's going? But here's the good news. Listen to me carefully. Up till now, I've been looking around in the NYPD. It's a bunch of, I'm sorry to say this. I'm going to say something terrible right now, but I'm going to say it because it's true. Because I'm here and I've noticed. I even told Mrs. L, I said, I'm noticing more overweight, fat women standing around talking on their phones with fingernails and, Fat men too, with Cardi B glasses, talking on the phone, looking down, and waddling in their uniforms. Waddling. Overweight, obese, fat asses, thick leg, couldn't run a half a block. I'm wondering, what is this? This is it's like going into a home and passing out uniforms. I thought, where are the cops of yore? The badasses. Guess what? They're here. I don't know where they were hiding, but they're here. And as Mrs. L and I are walking back tonight, we're going, we're looking back on like 9th Avenue and saying, oh. And I walked up to one and I gave him one of these. Good for you. And they looked, there was a woman who was a sergeant in great shape, riot gear and those, not cordite, but that really hard rubber type of baton. She was the scariest looking one of them all. Big, good shape, standing there. A lot of white shirts, a lot of the officers and commanders, and standing by ready to say, "Oh no." Did you see when that siege truck came? Didn't you love that? The siege truck was a little bit of historicity to an extent. In the old days, they would move this tower up to the side of a building, and they would climb up and just walk right in. That's what this was. This thing pulled up, and people said, "What the hell is this? Where do they keep this thing parked?" It's a siege truck. You saw it with that long, extendable, kind of like it's like a ladder, and they just walked right in. It was incredible. Now, in case you just tuned in, if you've taken over buildings, if you're breaking windows, your protest just turned into trespass, and you're going to be arrested. It's a whole other story. Do I make myself clear? Sparky says, your man Biden is a Catholic Zionist. There are many more non-Jew Zionists than Jew Zionists. That could very well be. Again, and I love you, and I thank you for you have a, not fixation, I shouldn't say that. Fixation implies something inordinate. Your word Zionist, you've used that word more than most people I know. That is your focus. I'm not saying you're right. But if you think you're going to win over, that's great on the Katie Halper show. Love to hear it. Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, love to hear that. I mean, seriously, that's really, it'd be like if I had somebody who could bring somebody from, I'm trying to think, would there be some kind of a judicial or juridical term of art? Maybe federalism or something, that the way they speak about it. But Sparky, I love you. You know that, right? From the heart, brother. I love you. And that's great. And what you're saying is completely, but believe me, when I tell you this, most people do not know what Zionism even is. The in-shape cops are attacking Jill Stein, a female college professor. Oh, yes. That was barbaric. Jill Stein. They had a bicycle. I forget where she was. They had a bicycle, basically used. She says she has osteoporosis. That was ridiculous. Look, for every one of these a-holes, I think you know what that means, who were commandeering buildings and doing, there were other people just standing around doing nothing, who were arrested, like that one cop who just attacked somebody for doing nothing. They exist, along with the troublemakers, along with the agents provocateurs, along with the instigators. They're all there. Somewhere in, another thing too is, I think, Sparky, I think you and I might agree with this. Jerry Nadler, whom I detest. I agree with him 100%. You can't pass legislation banning anti-Semitism. That's ridiculous. That is an idea. It could be loathsome. It could be whatever it is. That's an idea. You can't. What do you do? Pass racism next? And for those African American folks who, by the way, I do not think represent even a de minimis proportion of those people protesting. Nobody wanted to pass any legislation about racism or transphobe or anybody else. They're getting their own legislation, perhaps being proposed, in terms of a thought crime. Remember, the moment you violate somebody's personal space, the moment you hurt somebody, hit somebody, batter somebody, break something, burn something down, I don't give a damn what the reason for that. You may do it because you love It's not even a hate crime. You may love your country. You say, you know what? I love our country, and I think that what our country is doing is fantastic. And I think we're okay. And I think our country is so terrific, and I think we are so great. And I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I love my country so much that I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna set this group on fire because you know what? Because I love my country, and I think what they're doing is subversive. So you know what? I'm going to do something maybe even more violent. No. You can't do that. Oh, no, it's not hate. It's because I love. No. Sorry. Now, can you tell me, can you sit there and say, okay, my friends, let's look at this group. Legit protester, asshole, pain in the neck, agent provocateur, instigator, punk, elite, college freak who doesn't have anything better to do, legitimate. Oh, and also, how about this? All right, folks, thank you. Everybody who is pro-Israel, can you stand over there, please? What does pro-Israel mean? I don't know. Please stand over there. Any of you who is pro-Palestinian, stand over there. And what are you doing? I'm pro-Palestinian. No, you can't. You're in the Israel state. You're Israeli and you're pro-Palestinian? No, you can't. No, you got to go back. Excuse me, what are you doing? You're a Palestinian, you're pro-Israel. No, you can't. No. What are you, sir? You're a Zionist? Sparky, go in Sparky's group. The Zionists are over there. They have their own tent. Go over there. Now, who are you? Pro-Hamas. Do we have a pro-Hamas group? No, we don't have a pro-Hamas group. Nobody's pro-Hamas. They're pro-Palestinian. Well, that's the same thing, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? It's not the same thing? Okay, why don't you caucus with the pro... Okay, now we have the Gazans. They're separate. Okay, Gazans. Palestinians. Did we do Palestinians? I think we're over there. How about the West Bankers? Oh, Jesus. Okay, Christian Zionists. Go back, Sparky's group. I think you count Christian Zionists. How about faux Zionists? How about FBI agitators? I think there's this over there. Okay, sincerely adamant over there. I'm just here for the beer over there. We've got so many groups of people. Sparky says, how do you differentiate between Jews and Zionists? They are not the same. Surely you know this. I know this, but why are you fixated with this? Why? No, I'm dead serious. Why is this a subject of such metaphysical fixation on your part? Don't you understand? There's a difference between them. The Jews are not necessarily Zionists, and the Zionists are not necessarily Jews. Zionism is okay. Why don't you want to talk about this? We're not going to get anything done unless we address this. If nobody knows the difference, we're not going to make any difference. It's the Zionism. You got to understand that's okay. Why don't you want to talk about it? I do want to talk about it. Well, you're not talking about it enough. God damn it, you're going to talk about the Zionists. It's the Zionism. Would you want to talk about the death? No, I'll talk about that later, but talk about the Zionists. Don't you understand? That's the... Okay. All right. Ramona says, we, the U.S., just purchased $1.3 billion worth of munitions from Ukraine manufacturers to send them to Ukraine. Absolutely. Now, is that pro-Soviet? Is that not pro-Soviet? Would that be Ukrainian? Is that pro-NATO? Don't you understand this? I swear to you, I mean this. Why do you keep calling them African Americans? They're not African. They're Americans. What? Well, God damn it, quit calling them African. They're not African. Would you lay off that? It doesn't matter. I've never heard anything like this where we're talking about this one aspect of it. And Sparky, if I went to right now to Times Square and said, does anybody, here's $1,000. Can anybody define what Zionism means? What does it mean? And what is the role it has in what's going on now? Pilgrim Media says, I'm back and you're still you. Thank you, Pilgrim. I appreciate that. Pie Wacker says, I just dream of a world where chickens can cross the road without having their motives questioned. Thank you. That is very good. Yes. Absolutely. Now, as I was trying to say before, as we noticed a lot of the police, people are saying, hey, we've missed you. You know what? Anybody do a quick check? Anybody notice that robbery's been down lately? Yeah. Ever since the police started hitting the road, have you noticed this? I don't know about you, but Mrs. Ellen and I are walking around and said, I like seeing. This is the way it used to look during Giuliani's days. We used to see cops all over the place. And they look big and bad and mean and great and gorgeous and wonderful and terrific. And everywhere we went, there they were. And you saw this ESW, emergency button work. And then you have the shift commander. And then you've got, oh, it was wonderful. And people are walking around and the cops are there. And it was terrific. Nobody's slugging Asian women. Nobody's punching anybody. It was beautiful. Warren Ocasio says, most handsome bow tie. Thank you, Warren. Ramona says, it's pro-war and it sucks. Absolutely. Today we were talking to a wonderful friend of ours, a nun. Huh? Oh, yes. This is a group called the Sisters of Life. And they are women who will work with women who have not had an abortion, women who don't want an abortion, women who want to keep a baby. They will take the woman in, provide safe housing. A lot of times these demented and deranged boyfriends and husband or ex-husband will try to get her to have the baby, and to abort the baby so that there's no child support or whatever it was. Then they even do counseling with women who have had abortions and have felt incredible guilt and remorse because all this nonsense here about, I had 30 abortions. Okay. So as we're talking, this is truly, as you would say, might say, God's work. This is what do you think Jesus would say? What do you think Jesus would say? And I'm not kidding you. Don't you think Jesus would, what are you doing? Well, we've got these kids. Why aren't you stopping it? We're debating Zionism. What? I know. It's a Theodore Herzl. It's a long story. Why are you allowing this to happen? And it's not only that, Jesus. That's happening elsewhere. Same thing's happening in Ukraine. And I love the way that the same people who said, oh, these January 6th, they're all a bunch of FBI agents, they don't see the same thing as happening regarding these protesters. Now, as I told you before, and as I made it very, very clear, I think protest is only effective if you're winning people to your side. If you're bringing about a change, it doesn't mean just saying something. You never see people protest saying, I like peanut butter. It's not even a protest. Nobody's arguing with you. Why don't they merely have pictures of kids, children, poor kids who have been just destroyed in the rubble? Stop all this other nonsense. Stop this. Let people see this. Don't forget the pictures of, anybody see any pictures of what's happening in Ukraine? Excuse me, Ukraine. Is that a Freudian slip? No. Jungian slip, perhaps. Anybody see the pictures of what's happening, truly happening in Gaza? Anybody? Do you ever talk about that? If you watch Fox News, they're just called anti-Israel, pro-Hamas. They're terrorists. James Woods, who whatever, who guy that was horrific. He sees this as black and white. It's all of this. Oh, another one said, Islam, try to make a juxtaposition between Islam and terrorism. Now, I don't know how to get rid of these people. Can't get rid of these people. But you're always going to find people who have these belief systems that are just absolutely insane. And in the meantime, we have people who are trying to destroy our freedom of speech. So anyway, back to the police. So Eric Adams, who was the mayor, is the mayor, who himself was a captain in the police force, who resigned, most interestingly, and had his files sealed or something. I don't know what happened with him. He's now acting like a cop. And he says, we're getting information that we are radicalizing young people, radicalizing intel. And he's acting like a mayor and acting like a cop, and people are loving it. And a lot of people are saying, wait a minute. We like having police here. We like law and order. Let's have more of this. Are you going to have more in law and order with Biden or more law and order with Trump? And Trump should be talking about this more, but he's not. Sparky says, would you agree that conflating the terms like Congress wants can lead to an increase in anti-Semitism? Conflating the terms. I don't know about conflating the terms. I will tell you this much, Sparky. There should be no law, no anything that basically penalizes or addresses a thought. Racism, anti-Semitism, transphobia, nothing. You don't pass a law that says you can't think that. You can be anti-Semitic all you want, just don't hurt anybody. Go ahead. You can be anti-Zionist, don't hurt anybody. Sparky, in my world, you can stand in a corner and say that you hate Israel and Zionism and Bibi and go ahead. Don't hurt anybody. Don't break into a building. Don't set it on fire. Don't break the glass. Don't. Now, if somebody comes and the police, if there's an issue, everybody out of here. Excuse me. Yeah. Did you do that for Black Lives Matter? No, you didn't do that. Did you? No. Why not? Did you order people to leave when they were arguing about protesting about climate change? No, you didn't do that. So why are you doing this one? Well, obviously, we don't want to hear anti-Semitic. Excuse me. Did you do that? You didn't mind there being anti-Trump message? Are you? And let me get this straight. The same people who said January 6th was not a revolution. It was not an insurrection, which it wasn't. It was not a it wasn't. It wasn't. You thought they were manhandled, but you want kids. Why should somebody lose their college position, their scholarship, their should be blacklisted for future jobs because they protested on behalf of Palestine? I don't explain that one to me. Or they were anti-Zionist. Why? Did they break anything? No. Now, why? I was like, okay, here's the rule. Are you promising me, Fordham and UCLA and Columbia and Harvard and Yale and everybody else, that you're going to apply the same standards to when people, let's say, get a little rambunctious after a basketball victory? They used to overturn cars there. I don't remember you finding out who they were and having them lose their scholarship and having their door passes not working and shutting down their food service. I don't remember that. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, there was a fellow one time who said a Union Square, but that wasn't that was a promotional thing. The guy who said, he said, I'm gonna give away. Yeah, they beat up on cop. I know that, but what I'm saying is, if I'm talking about schools now, if schools, do we say from now on, and I'm all for this, no more protests of any kind about anything. Because what you're telling the Palestinian people is you can't even meet. You can't even stand there and protest. Why? No matter what. Because that's anti-Semitic? Wait a minute. What? I mean, hey, with all due respect, Black America, you never got that with racism. Nobody gets this? You're going to carve out an exception? Hey, trans folks, transphobia never got that one. How do you like them apples? Huh? Huh? What's so special? I mean, I don't understand it. Mike Johnson, that rat bastard, and God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene. She does some crazy stuff. She's so 100% correct regarding this guy who's schizophrenic. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got the goods on him. They've got, hey, we got the picture of you and the duck. What? You know about that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Please tell me how anybody can say we're going to shut down. Now, Fordham, were they doing anything? Were they breaking any laws? Yeah. Okay, if you broke into a building, that's a different story. Okay, they set up their tents and said they're not leaving. Okay. They jumped on the roof and unfurled flags. All right. Is that trespass? Yeah. Is that the only way you can protest? I don't believe so. All right, I'll go along with that one. Will you do the same thing for the climate change folks? If Greta Thunberg, by the way, she's aged out, poor thing. What is she? 50 now? I have no idea. Sparky says, my first girlfriend was a Jewish Olympic hopeful ice skater. When I was in the 5th grade, she missed math because she had to practice every morning, so the teacher had me teach her math. Now I got it, I think. And is this when you broke up? Is this did this affect your views on Zionism? I'm not sure. Pilgrim Media says everyone in the Middle East is Semitic. Yes, I know. But here's the one. I got one for you. Okay. How many Jewish people believe that Palestinian is wrong? Okay, good. You're anti-Semitic. Go figure that one out. I don't understand that one. Are log cabin Republicans transphobic? Are log cabin Republicans who are for Donald Trump, who are gay, are they not? Are they homophobic or whatever? These words don't even make any sense anymore. None of it makes any sense anymore. Let me try to say this again. The left is scared out of their minds. This was the unintended consequence. People are saying, hey, we like these cops. And you know what? The cops like to do it themselves. They want to be respected. They want to be there. They want to be there. Now, granted, they might want to be doing other kinds of crimes as well, like, child molestation and things like that. But at least a lot of people are saying, you know what? We like this cop. And you know why the streets are safe? Because the cops are out. Whether they're out because of some Fordham Road protest or whether they're out because they're doing their jobs, a lot of folks said, we like this. Hey, we forgot what it's like to have the police. You know what? We're voting for Trump. And guess what, Sparky? Guess who's been giving Bibi a raft of you-know-what? Trump. Trump's basically saying, you know what? Talk about October the 7th or whatever. Things are changing drastically. And now Eric Adams says, hey, I like being mayor. I like this. Now, granted, I think, breaking up student stuff, I mean, that's, and thankfully, I don't think I hope nobody's been killed. I'm sure that people must have been hurt, but it's been relatively peaceful. Relatively peaceful. But here's the thing I also want to talk to is like, listen, when they say free Palestine from the river to the sea, what does that mean? If somebody walks by and says, I don't understand this. Remember when they had the pro-life protesters and they had these big pictures of like babies and fetuses, huge. Understand now? Wow. I get it. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a stranger. I'm no stranger to the rain. I think Keith Whitley said it best. Mr. George Lenz is back, and he says, I'd like to sit in on one of those Ivy League endowment meetings to witness the desperation. Oh, and the best part, too, is George, and thank you. Who needs the Ivy League now? Who needs this crap? People say, we don't even want to be here. You're fired. You can't come in. I can't stand these people. When I saw this, and Sparky, you must agree with this, and George and Pittman and Mind Tab and Flat Earth and the whole bit. When I saw this King Slutsky or whatever her name is stand up and say, little dehydration and starvation. When women in Gaza have been reported to stop, I remember this, breastfeeding, babies, no anesthesia for amputations, dietary restrictions in terms of how much chocolate goes in. People are starving. And this jadrol over here with the PhD or whatever says, we do have a meal ticket. I'm thinking, hey, Palestine, hey, Gaza, don't feel bad. Numbnuts over here doesn't have her meal ticket. So you starve away. The Queen of Sheba over here, she's the spokesperson with her kafia. Oh, she really understands your pain. She hasn't had, she has to do that terrible Acme or, CVS brand. She doesn't even get the good water with the electrolytes in it. She's really slumming it. Sparky says, when Israel took her away from me and called her back to Israel, I swore I'd get even. You know what? It all makes sense right now. It all makes sense. All I know is Michael Moore is making sense to me. I can't believe I'm saying this. Jerry Nadler. Oh my God. Please stop it. Stop it. But you know what? Anybody who agrees with me. I'm not going to say no just because I don't like him. Remember when poor Jerry Nadler they told him to get on the knee and wear the kente cloth? Jerry said, I can't get on my knee. You got to get on your knee. I can't get on my knees. I can sit in a chair. That's not the same. We got to bow to George Floyd. Remember that bullshit? Remember that one? That thug? Remember that? This guy who died of fentanyl overdose? I couldn't believe it. There was no statute, that prohibited racism and the like. We've lost our minds. Oh, the border. Oh, please. Remember years ago when I might have been Penn and Teller, I don't know. They passed it was a college campuses, and it said something like, it was to ban dihydrogen monoxide, H2O. They said it was odorless, colorless, it kills more people and destroys property. Would you want to ban dihydrogen monoxide? And of course, they said sure, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Years ago, we were out one night. It was a big celebration. This is a long time ago. And we're at Union Square. We got out of the subway. And there was a guy standing there who had a bullhorn over his shoulder and a microphone. And he was like passing it around. I said, you mind if I say something? So I told my group at the time, and we had a good time that night. I said, watch the professional here do this. I said, you mind if I say something? Yeah. He said, okay. I said, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of this shit. Yeah. And the more I turn around, the more everything stays the same. And they keep telling me it's going to get better, but it doesn't. And you know what? I've had enough. And you've had enough too. And I never said what it was that I was upset about. But people agreed. It was generic. It's like a generic thing. How many times have you been lied to? Oh, they're going to fix it. But then when it comes time to it, something seems to get in the way. funding, legislation, an election. There's got to be a point where I just went on and on and on. And I think there's something to be said where sometimes people love to be a part of I want to be an activist. Now, some people are smart. Some people mean it. Some people don't. But they get involved in this thing. And you can't sit there and say, excuse me, yes. I have a mood ring on each of you people. You're sincere. You're not. You get out. You can stay. Jill Stein, you can stay. But Moondog, you and whatever, you've got to leave. Why? Because you don't really mean this. You're just here for the beer. Ramona Heath says, even a blind pig finds a truffle now and again. Nadler, Moore, that's true. But, I'm glad to hear people are talking about the First Amendment. Why didn't they care? Why didn't Nadler and these people care about the First Amendment when we wanted to talk about problems that we had with certain vaccines and mandates? They didn't care about First Amendment then. They didn't care about that then. Oh, no, it was misinformation. Why does somebody tell Sparky this is misinformation? Sparky says, just kidding. Her family moved away on their own. Yeah, right. She was just there in the 5th grade, ran across an old yearbook, and the photographer featured us together a lot. We did look nice together. In the 5th grade, you had a yearbook? 5th grade, we didn't have anything in the yearbook. We had nothing. Pilgrim Media says, have you been to Speaker Square in London? No, I have not, but I would like to. Very much. I would like to. I think so. So, just to remind you, I believe in my First Amendment. I'm not holding it up just to be cute. I really mean it. And it covers some really nasty stuff. Remember, and Sparky, you agree with me, and I think Pilgrim and these stuff, and Teramoto and Bobby Johnson, the whole group. In 1977, the Nazis, National Socialists, marched in Skokie, Illinois. And a bunch of folks said, excuse me, many of us were in the Holocaust. We moved here to enjoy freedom of America. This is the worst possible insult you could ever level at us. How dare you do this? And the lead lawyer in the ACLU case was a Jew. And at his synagogue, they threw his ass out. I don't know if they threw him out, but they said, what are you doing? And he says, this is America. They goes, don't you understand? These are the Nazis. Now, today they would say, they're anti-Semites. Okay, that's okay. You're done. Forget it. Sorry, National Socialists, you're not marching. Why? Because you're an anti-Semite. No. They told these folks, sorry. What happened? Warren Ocasio says, Jeremiah Wright is sounding right to me. Americans' chickens are coming home to roost. Do you know, it's funny, Warren Ocasio, thank you so much, that Jeremiah Wright, by the way, he was remember when they were giving Obama grief? Remember giving Obama grief because Obama was saying things like, oh, they said, well, Reverend Wright was your pastor. Wait a minute, you told me I was a Muslim. Well, maybe I was. I'm going to say something right now. You're not going to believe what I'm going to say. I'd take Obama in a heartbeat over Biden. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I'd take Hillary Clinton in a heartbeat over Biden. How you like that? Now, that's like saying, I'd rather be shot by the 22 versus a 38. And sometimes that's not right because sometimes the 22 will bounce around. We have somebody who doesn't know where he is right now, who is trying his best. He wants to go home. When are they going to bring Gavin Newsom into this? And when's Trump going to start talking more and more? Forget this Truth Social bullshit. We don't care about this. Stop talking about your trial. We understand it. Start talking about this. Start talking about the border. Start talking about, you do know reality of this, right? It's 188 days until the election. 188 days. What the hell's Trump doing? I don't understand this. I don't understand this. I will take any president, any official who knows where he is versus somebody who's propped up, who's been compromised. They've got more. Do you know the dirt they've got? What they can do to Hunter? And you see how Fox News bailed or folded like a cheap suit with that thing they were going to do about Biden? They've got no balls, these people. None. Take Mark Garagos on. Take him to trial. Come on. Float the bill. Float the litigation. Stretch it out for 10, 15, 20 years. Come on, Garagos. Let's see what you got. You want to tee it up? Let's go, baby. Come on. And wait till we call your buddy for a little deposition. Sparky says, still not allowed to use the word Doog, reverse spelling good. It's only on your super chats. I just had to use the word nice, for example. You can't use the word good? Oh my God. That's demented. Absolutely demented. Hang on a minute. There we go. Anyway, dear friends, boy, an hour and 26 minutes. Has this been fun or what? You know, I keep thinking to myself, I think, is 8 o'clock? I don't know. I mean, like 7. I think 7 o'clock is good. Like I know tonight we just had to go see our dear friend. It was so straight. He had, by the way, our friend Father Lloyd. They had these slides from 1921 when he was in Hell's Kitchen in this particular area, San Juan Hill. And what's also great is to see these old priests there, the older nuns, the nuns. Oh, you know, they walk by and they have the nun shoes on. You notice that, honey? Those nun shoes. I don't know where they got these from. They have like vents in them, and they look. There's no style at all. It's like they've got that nun. They're just. I love those folks. Everybody remembers your name of your nun. You'll never forget that. Never. You remember them. There was something to be said for them. If we had kids right now, first of all, they'd be homeschooled. But if not, if I could bring back the nuns that I saw, those, especially the little ones that walk in, those are the ones that scared the hell out of me. I still feel incredible respect. Like we were sitting behind them. It's like they just, I mean, I think they were so great. Yeah, they have a frozen smile, but they're also kind of angelic, and they devoted their whole life to this stuff. And I know a lot of these, let's face it, some of the terrible stuff that some of the Catholic priests have done, but I never had one in my group. Never. They were always good. So anyway, so that's it. So dear friends, tonight, what a night we've had. You have been just absolutely incredible. Sparky, Warren Ocasio, any kin to Sandy Cortez? Pilgrim Media, I said Sparky, of course. Ramona, bless your heart. George Lenz is back. The Stranger. Let me see. Ramona again has said that. Pie Wacket. Let me see who else is there. Sparky, you won the show tonight with your Zionist dissertations and disquisitions. Most expert indeed. Stephen Johnson, thank you. Dr. Murph, thank you as well. Johnny Maz, ladies and gentlemen. They used to call him Maz the Spaz years ago, but that was a long time ago, and certainly not of any relevance now. Here we go. Look at this one. Sparky says, after being kicked out of public school, I went to a school for troubled youth, which also catered to kids with special circumstances, like pretty Olympic hopeful ice skaters. I hope they would never call it the school for troubled youth. You know what I mean? I hope they would not do this. Ramona says, night fine people. Yep, can't write the word doog. Unbelievable. That is the most demented thing I've ever heard in my life. That is absolutely, positively, without a doubt, demented. Demented. That's all I'm going to say. All right, friends, have a great and a glorious night. You have been without peer. Absolutely, positively, without peer. And it is an honor to have been with you this eve. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. 8 a.m. We're going to have a hell of a time then. Have a wonderful night, my friends. Thank you. Thank you. Seriously, I mean this. What a night. And thank you for your consistency. Don't forget, as I said, please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors. It means the world to me and to her to spread the holy word of truth. Lynn's Warriors. Follow her, and at X or Twitter as well for Lynn's Warriors. All right, friends. See you tomorrow morning. Have a great and glorious time. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.